match point.
Incredible third set here.
They changed their strategy a little bit and they fought their way back in.
There it is. Game, set, and match.
To the 2024 Milton Point Cup Final.
Hello and welcome to the 2024-25 APTA Tour. We're live from the Coverley Club in Rye, New York, bringing you the Milton Point Cup with live streaming brought to you by the APTA membership and our tour presenting sponsors, Volley and Corium. Tournament support has also been provided by the following local sponsors: ProQuest, delivering successful insurance solutions to law firms nationwide, and the Sport House, where passion meets community, where every player, regardless of level, can find a sense of home. I'm Patty Hogan, along with the one and only Mike Raleigh, bringing you the men's final between our tournament number one seeded team, Alvi Regalado and Jose Salazar, and our number two team of Drew Broderick and Tomas Christian. Welcome, Mike.
Patty, thanks for having me. Excited for this fantastic match we're about to buckle up and get a front row seat for. We've got Alan Villamour in the chair. We'll be playing 2 out of 3 sets, regular scoring. On your screen on the left-hand side, serving, hitting some practice serves is Regalado with the black paddle. With the white paddle, his partner Salazar. On the far side, man that needs no introduction, and the lefty, Dave Broderick, I believe is a 4-time national title holder, and his partner, Tomas Christian.
Yeah, Mike, this was kind of, coming into this event, great one-day event where this is the first year of the Milton Point Cup. There's a women's event that started a year ago, and so much interest on APTA Tour that this tournament came to fruition this year. And our number one team in the country, Salazar and Regalado, just look invincible. We know they came up a little short, barely, in the finals of nationals last year, losing to, in a remarkable match to Guillermo Nunez and Mark Powers. And they started the year off, Mike, lights out. They won Montclair, where they beat Erdoya McNerney, their first tournament of their season. Then they won down in Baltimore, which was the first event they ever won on the APTA Tour last year, and they won it again, and they are solid number one team in the country. Going into this match, Broderick Christian played a couple years ago, had great success, and this is going to be some match, Mike. What are you doing for the next 3 hours?
Well, I'm just getting ready here. Yeah, I think, I was looking at the draw, and Regalado and Salazar have lost no more than 3 games in their 3 matches today, and I got to call a couple of their matches last week at the Chicago Charities, and it was pretty much par for the course then. They were pushed a little bit more in the finals against McNerney and Adam Morgan, but I think up to that point they hadn't lost more than 3 games. So it's going to be some uphill sledding, I think, for Christian and Broderick, but I think they're up for the task. We're going for a good match.
Yeah, that's Broderick, the lefty, starting to serve in this match. Jose Salazar has the white paddle. These guys have the matching outfits. Alvi teaches over at the Orange Lawn Club, the beautiful Orange Lawn Club. Jose's up in Greenwich at the Stanwich Club, and their matching outfits are supplied by an amazing guy, Mike, who you might not know of, Tommy Bass, the Bass Foundation. Incredible organization. Stacy Berman does incredible work working for them as their, I think she's their executive director. I'm not positive about that, but Stacy's a fun, great paddle person, passionate about paddle and the Bass Foundation, and they just do wonderful things for the community in need anywhere around the South Orange area. So kudos to them. Just thought I'd give them a shout out. Regalado and Salazar, Mike, I think of them and I think of one word. Besides spectacular, awesome, incredible, I'm going to say efficient, because I feel like they don't mess around.
15 all.
Well, and we saw, I think, something that Dave Broderick in the first point has made, has made Drew Broderick. his brother, Dave. I don't know who's the better player, but I know who the better announcer is. But Drew
15,
Broderick,
30.
you know, where he climbs up that side screen on any ball that hangs there, and he sent an early message.
15,
stepped up
40.
and snapped off that, I don't know how you call it, a cut overhead drive, but just call it the Broderick.
The Broderick.
Game,
I mean, right out of
Regalado
the gate.
Salazar. They lead 1-0 first set.
So, you know, Mike, you've been around this game so long. You're one of the best respected teaching pros in the country. You know, when you see a team like Regalado Salazar play, it's unbelievable in that they have no weakness.
Yeah, not only they look extremely alike, they dress alike, but there's very few differentiators on what they do well, or to the flip side of that, do they do anything? Is there a weakness? And it's, you know, rarely do we see two players that dress alike, play alike, and really don't have any weak spots in their games.
Yeah, you know, we know the sport is about matchups, and you look at Broderick and Christian, and when I call, you know, Regalado and Salazar efficient, where I was going with that was that they don't mess around. If they can win a game, they do not give away points. I've never seen a team give away fewer points. So they give the opponents no breathing room. And this match, you know,
15.
their styles of play are more similar than dissimilar for sure. And, you know, all these guys are known for, you know, they're willing to let it play out. But the difference with Salazar and Regalado, from what I've seen of them, is, I mean, you hit one short volley or one overhead that doesn't quite get to the right spot, then they're going to go lights out, explosiveness.
And I think that they have multiple gears depending on how they want to play. When they got interviewed at the after the finals last weekend, you know, they said they prefer to play fast, but they can play slow. They love the transition game, and if you make the mistake and lay the ball in short, like you said, boy, they will quickly flip the switch and bring the heat. And I would say the one shot that they choose not to hit, not that they couldn't hit it, is that aggressive cutter. You know, and I'd love to hear why. You know, we'll have the whole season to figure that out, but why they don't utilize that shot. They go more into that heavy roller.
Well,
Haven't heard why.
So, Mike, when you're out there and you're practicing against the volleyball machine, and you hit 250 overheads, which is your normal routine every day, right? You get out there and you hit like 250 rollers, 250 slash type of overheads. What takes more? What takes more out of you, Mike?
6 mile run. My 6
Right.
mile run every day. Yeah.
What takes when you hit, you know, when you hit your rollers versus the other little like slash and the cutters? What takes more out of you physically?
Well, I think that when you're grinding on that slash, I think you're right. You put a lot into it, and I think some players feel like they don't get a lot out of it. You know, maybe that's it. They're choosing not to hit it because they're not seeing the benefit.
Yeah, both shots, you know, the ball will stay low, be a little unpredictable, but, you know, all these guys, they can defend any kind of spin. And I don't know, I just feel like maybe have you ever seen them sweat, Mike?
No, I haven't. I'm surprised that they even take their sweats off, their matching sweatshirts off.
See that miss from Broderick right there? I think, you know, they kind of just dumped the ball to him. They wanted him to drive that ball, and that's what they
15,
do. Like they'll kind of induce you into some shot making that maybe you don't want to hit right at that moment, possibly.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, having watched Drew Broderick play over the years, and I think Tomas Christian plays very similar style in that they can, you know, they're going to wait for their absolute perfect ball. But if they can be, whether it's baited into or, like you said, induced into hitting a ball that they're maybe, you know, that bodes well for Regalado and Salazar. It just because it's taking them a little bit out of their comfort zone.
And I think, you know, Broderick, 4-time national champ. We know he's willing to be out there forever, grind forever.
15-40.
Doesn't pull the trigger too quickly from the baseline is an understatement. You know, I expect them to try to bait Drew a little bit in this match.
Game, Broderick, Christian. 1-all first set.
You know, and you look back at, I think that the most recent success that was had against Regalado and Salazar was in the finals with Nunes and Powers, you know, last spring. And that lefty cutter of Nunes really did a little damage in the first set of that match until Regalado and Salazar switched sides. And I don't know if that's something that maybe Broderick and Christian are going to kind of try to see if they can, if that strategy will bear fruit or not.
So here's the thing, Mike. Before we went on air, we were talking about our picks. And since it's really not sporting if we both pick the same team,
Yeah.
I'm going to give you first pick. Tell me why they're going to win. Make your pick and tell me why they're winning, and I'll make my pick to follow.
All right, it's hard to pick against a 4-time national title holder, but Regalado and Salazar, I think, are playing at such a high level right now. They're coming with, you know, all the confidence in the world, and I really think that it's their season to, you know, or their match to start with, their match to lose, and really their season so far until someone, you know, dethrones them. I mean, they're going to be the Vegas's top pick in every match they play.
30
So
love.
I'm going Regalado and Salazar.
All right, I'm going Broderick Christian. I think
Okay.
they're going to win because I think this is the match. Tomas Christian makes believers and gets himself in the, you know, the upper echelon. Everybody knows he's a phenomenal talent. I have a lot of belief in how good Tomas Christian is out here and his ability to be competitive, phenomenal. He's got to serve well here today. And I think that he's into the mindset that Broderick, we know, is famous for. And so they're going to go lockdown mode all day. I think they're going to drive these guys crazy. I think they could get them to change their uniforms.
Okay, well, good. I'd love to see it. He's a fan of the game. I mean, in your recollection, can you recall this year of anyone kind of pushing Regalado and Salazar? You know,
You mean where we really watched and thought they had a chance to win the match?
yeah.
You know, Montclair, they took out Erdoya, McNerney, 3-2, and you know, Mick Erdoya and anyone is always a favorite for me to win a match, and they just neutralized those guys and just you know, phenomenal. You know, they got through Bostrom and Ong in the semis of that 2-3. Like I said, they're super efficient. They don't mess around when they get out on the court and play as a team. I love that they want to win every game, and I think a lot of these players, on their way to the top of the game, they go through a period where they give away, you know, they kind of gift away some stuff. And I think the ascension of these guys to the top of the game is because they give away nothing.
Yeah, and as you said that, we saw a missed overhead and a
2-1
drive into the
first
net.
set.
So,
Exactly.
but you know what I noticed in the charities was that their giveaways are, you know, much shorter. They're much stingier with what they give away. So it might be a point here, a point there, maybe a game, but you're not seeing the 3 to 4 to 5 game slides that is typical in pretty much every, you know, platform tennis match.
Yeah, that's a great
they-
point.
You know, they really kind of cut their slide. They slam the brakes on before the slide becomes, you know, too big.
15 love.
Right, and you just feel it Like in the semifinal, you saw it with the match, Volker and Bentheim. You know, they were at 2-all, and we were just, you know, Lauren Mandel was on the call with myself, and we were just talking about it, and you know, we just said, this is the crucial moment right here. And then 3 games later, you know, it was just Volker and Bentheim came up short in that time, and that's where the ultimate grind has to occur.
15.
And that's why I kind of think that, you know, of any team out there, the mentality that Broderick Christian bring to the table, I think is the one that could beat them. Could. Yeah. But, you know, they're going to, you know, things are going to have to go their way. You know, sometimes, Mike, in these matches that, you know, everybody's so great and, you know, the difference maker is not very much. I feel like I would be shocked if this thing isn't close the whole way in this first set. You know, Broderick Christian, we said, you know, they had a long day. But, you know, they make for long days with their style of play. You know, they had a 3-setter against Kolak and Page in their round of 16 match. They had a tough match getting out of the, you know, the quarter. They won it. They had a, you know, decent match there, but they put in, you know, every match they play, I would say probably averages, you know, 2.5 hours of court time. And over the course of a, you know, a tournament like this, a 1-day event, 5 rounds of play, that takes a toll on you. But Broderick Christian came into this, and this is exactly what they wanted. So, in a way, both teams are getting exactly what, you know, they thought how this day would play out ultimately. So much talent in this game, so many great young players, Mike. But at the end of the day, you know, I thought these were the 2 best teams in the tournament.
They are our number 1 and number 2 seeds, so
40-15.
you weren't taking a big leap there, but, you know, it is funny, the road to the finals, the amount of, you know, miles that Christian and Broderick had to, you know, that they had to travel was a lot further than Regalado and Salazar. But I think that, you know, in order for Broderick and Christian to win this match, you know, maybe there's a little letdown, if there's a little letdown from Regalado and Salazar.
Game,
and Broderick
and Salazar.
You know, Christian are playing at the top of their game. Yeah, it's not crazy to think that they could do this.
All right, so we're at 2-all. We're going to bring in our tournament director, Andreas Banfili, is in the booth, I believe. Welcome, Andreas.
Hi, Patty. How are you?
Hey, we're doing well. You're running a great tournament here. How's everything going from your side?
Yes, this is excellent. You know, the weather is amazing. Great paddle all day long. We had great spectators. Lots of people came here to support the tournament, and we saw incredible paddle on all the courts. So we are very happy to be here. I think that you know, Drew and Thomas are doing a great job, a great start against Regalado and Salazar, and that's what you want to see, a good start. You know, keep this match close, and like you said before, they could have a chance if they play, you know, steady, patient, the way they know how to play, and hopefully Salazar and Regalado, they give them a window, you know. So we'll see how this match progress.
This is a great backdrop here. I love that spectator viewing on the side here with that deck. You got a great, beautiful club there in Rye, New York, and so thrilled that you guys were able to bring another APTA stop to Milton Point.
Yeah, no, for sure. We have lots of participation here. Our committee, the members, they want to keep this tournament, and so we'll run more tournaments for years to come, for sure. So players, we got lots of great feedbacks, and it's a great setting because we have 3 clubs, one next to the other, so we have 11 courts within 2 minutes walk, pretty much, and everything is here. The action is right here in Milton Point, Rye, New York. Next to me is Louis Volclair as well. He played the semifinal earlier. And he's gonna jump in as well to, you know, to commentate a little bit on this match.
Sure, and Andres, we would love to hear from Louis after we take a break, after Like, we'll bring him in another game if that's okay.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Can,
That works.
Can
That
Louis
works.
sit tight for one game?
Louis is here. I'm not gonna let him go anywhere.
Well, thanks so much, and congrats for pulling off a great event here on the APTA Tour.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Love 30.
So 2-all, Broderick down, love 30 on his serving game here. Mike, has everyone held so
40.
far up to this moment?
No, that's a great question, Patty. I'm so wrapped up in this, in the great play.
Yeah, I think it's 4 holds, and we're looking at a break, and this is huge for Regalado Salazar early in this match.
Game, Regalado, Salazar.
That was a quick break, and that
Daily,
takes us right
3
into a
games to
word
2
from our
first
sponsor
set.
here. Train in real game scenarios with Serve and Volley, the world's first responsive play drill. Volley's new AI-powered feature tracks your position, the ball, and returns every serve for targeted practice. Try it today on the Volley app. And I tell you, Patty, being a teacher of this game for seems like decades, and it is decades, the Volley app, I was saying to somebody, is one of the first, not the app, but the machine and the app is one of the first things that has changed how I do what I do, and I'm sure what you do as well. It could even, wow, that was a heck of a
15.
forehand drive there, Christian.
Love it.
Must have been practicing on that Volley app.
That's right, but Mike, I mean, it saves your arm. You can line that machine up and feed those double screens to players all day long.
Yeah, it was just last week we had 4 ladies for a screen drill, and it fed over 900 balls. And you know how many balls I touched? 0.
Love
I
30.
did not feed a single ball, and it was glorious.
Oh, my shoulder is happy for you.
Yeah, and you know, it just allows, I mean, from a professional perspective, it almost is like you are, in some respects, like a golf pro, that you're giving a lesson standing
Love
next to your
40.
student rather than across the net. So it's much more, you know, I love the feedback you can provide almost instantly, and I'm a huge fan of it.
Nice. You know who else is a huge fan? I think it's our next guest, the one and only Louis Vauclair. Welcome, Louis. Takes a while for Louis to talk. He's a little shy typically.
The translation? Is it?
Translation? Oh, Louis. Oh my gosh, I can't believe he's mic shy here, Mike, on us. He was going to make his commentating debut.
I was really excited about this. Wow, what a spot drive that was.
15-40.
Christian going to unload another one right here on this return? No.
Too good of a serve.
Yeah, really good serve. Hey, quick shout out to Luisa Randazzo, who is
30-40.
involved behind the scenes with ProFlight, helping Evan run the show here, staying on top of all the scorekeeping and a few other things. Luisa, great
Game,
young
Broderick,
woman, Summit
Christian.
area, Canoebrook,
3-all.
Junior Nats, great player. Thanks for Luisa and all her work behind the scenes, and to her mom, Pam Randazzo, who's the New Jersey Women's League president, doing an extraordinary job and really creative, has really taken that leadership of that organization, Mike, and stepped it up. They have a couple of great events I'll tell you about sometime.
Can't wait to hear. I mean, the amazing thing is, anyone that takes over positions like that, you know, are worth their weight in gold. And so to all the volunteers across the country, thank you for what you do, and thanks for making these tournaments run so smoothly. They don't usually get a lot of love, but without them it wouldn't happen. So cheers to them all.
Totally agree. And now I think
15.
he's not camera shy or mic shy anymore. Louis, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. I thought you didn't want me on the live stream. I thought you got a bit nervous over there, you know. You say sit
Louis,
tight for
we
one game.
always want to spend every moment of every day possible with you. Welcome,
Oh,
Louis.
I love it. How are you?
We're doing great. I'm with Mike Raleigh, Louis. We enjoyed some of the action earlier. What happened to you guys?
Well, he got too slow. I could not focus for two lobbies in a row. That's what happened, you know. And I think Thomas and Sagbanan can put it through tonight. I think they can win the final.
You're picking it, Louis?
Oh, I'm picking Sagbanan, yeah. That's his nickname, Drew's nickname, Sagbanan. And Thomas is very confident today, you know.
Yeah, that's a good point, Louis. And confidence
miss
plays a big
volleys,
role
yeah.
out here. And I think these guys look like they're in it to win it for sure. No doubt in their minds.
They volley really well right now. They don't miss any. Very, very hard to go through them.
Louis, I got to ask you a question. I don't mean to put you on the spot, but why not? It's so fun to. So, Louis, when you're playing against Broderick and Christian, and you see those guys over there, and you know they have more patience than any two players in the world together besides Jose and Alvi, what does that do to you mentally?
I mean, you got to be willing to be there all day, you know. And for me, after one set, you know, it's very hard for a French guy to speak English and to focus more than 2 hours on the courts in a row. But you know, the way to beat them is to reset down the middle for like 3 hours and then, you know, mix it up with 1 or 2 cuts, a few rollers. But you know, as soon as you hit too many cuts and roller in a row, that's where you start making mistakes, and you know, that's where they capitalize on it. You know, they want us to play fast. And you got to play, you know, slow, fast. You got to mix up the pace a little bit at the net. And, you know, today at the best line, I thought we will go through them a lot. You know, I didn't respect their volley enough, and they didn't miss any volleys. So it was very, very hard for us to control the net when we were at the best line. So I think, you know, that got me a little on the edge, and my partner as well. We struggled to go through them at the best line. We thought our offense would be enough, and, you know, and we didn't lob too bad. So, you know. I think they were very solid volley-wise.
Hey, Louis, are we going to see more of you and Russell?
Oh, I don't know. You know, it depends on my back, and you know, I like to play with Russell, but I like to play with different guys. So you know, it will depend. You know, I might play one with Thomas. You know, and look at him. You know, he shows some even so confident today that he decided to wear no socks. 30. You can see, you know, he shows some skin, some ankle today. I think that's gonna make the difference in the match in the final today.
It's definitely a
Louis,
warn.
How's your prep going? How's your prep going for your APTA Tour stop? What day is your? What weekend is your event?
That's a fantastic question. I think it's end of January. You know, I have a lot of events before that, but you know, I think we're ready. You know.
I think you're exactly right. It's January 25th, 26th.
Yeah.
I think, what year is this? The third year of you running that event out of there as an APTA?
I think it's been 7 years. We did it at Orange Lawn the first year, so it's probably like about 7.
7 years.
Yeah, maybe, 7, you know.
Wow, that's great. You guys do a phenomenal job up there, and I love the enthusiasm you have. And Louis, we want you to play every week on the live stream, so let's go. Step it up.
That's ambitious, but you know, we'll try. Andre and I, maybe we play a tournament together, you know.
I need to get back on some tournaments play.
All right, well, Louis and Andrea, thanks so much, you guys, for popping in, and we'll take it from here. Thanks so much. Congrats on a great event, and good luck, Louis, and your event at the end of January.
Thank you. Bye-bye, guys.
Thank you,
guys.
buddy. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patty, here's a question for you. If we go to France and we speak English, do you think we get the same reaction from the French people when they hear our accents?
Not even close.
I've got some friends out here in Chicago that are you know, French, and I mean, they can say anything as long as they say it with their accent. You know, I always say I can say just about anything as long as I say it with laughter. You know, I get away with a lot. But, I mean, they truly, just with that accent, can say just about anything. I just love to hear them talk.
Yep, I'm with you. And sometimes you can even understand what Louis says.
Right, right. I got about 80% of that.
Yep, yep. Usually the over-under is about 70%.
Is it? So I was above
Yep.
the curve.
You're way above the curve, always, Mike. So, Mike, we got a match here, 3-all, first
We
set.
sure do.
40,
There's a
30.
game point here.
I mean, have Salazar and Regalado been behind in a match? Not since Nationals.
I don't
Game, Broderick,
think so.
Christian.
I mean, 4-3. This I don't think they're panicking yet,
They lead
but
4 games
you know,
to
this is
3, first set.
great to see.
This is a great time for Broderick Christian. All of a sudden, we got the matching outfits. They've got to change their outfits. They got to do something else. They're good luck outfits. Oh, no, never mind. Hold that thought. Yeah, but you know, seriously, like, I think people watching this are shocked right now that Broderick Christian are up 4-3 at the end of this day, where Salazar and Regalado just cruised to this point and really didn't have a lot, and maybe that kind of working against them a little bit here.
You know, yeah, I mean, it's in some respects great to be tested because you kind of find a groove. But to me, it seems like Regalado and Salazar haven't lost a groove. You know, it just, you know, they run at such a high level. Boy, and we saw that drop shot come out.
15 love.
In the semis. I was just happened to be watching the semis, and they hit 3 to 4 outright winners off of absolute bombs from Burris and Tommy G, and it was just like a ho-hum drop shot winner.
Have you taught a drop shot lesson yet with the volley machine?
Not yet, because the temperature hasn't gotten in Chicago. It hasn't gotten below. I don't think I've taught in anything less than 50 degrees so far, and I'm not complaining. But, you know, we're going to save that drop shot lesson for January.
There you go. See how Christian drove that ball to the middle, and you had both Salazar and Alvey going for that ball. You know, that's the only thing. They play a lot more forehand volleys than a lot of teams, and they do it really well. And it doesn't, you know, not good or bad. That's just what their style of play is, and they are so good that they can do anything they want. But I do think that Broderick and Christian working that middle, you know, I'd be curious to see if they don't have a little bit of success there, just kind of testing their teamwork.
Well, and I think, too, you look at their positioning is a little less than traditional when they're at the net. You know, they're a little bit more neutrally located in the center of the court rather than, you know, what we typically see where that, like a shift into that position there. And it isn't quite, no one's been able to exploit
30
that
love.
yet. You know what I mean? It would,
Dirty
you
love.
know, if I were coaching anybody else, I'd look at that and be like, we got to tighten up at the net. And, I mean, for them, it seems to be working.
Yep. You know, what you're seeing in this game a little bit is they've pulled Broderick up a little bit
30,
and kind
15.
of pull him in. They drop shot at Tomas on the first point of the game. You know, I think that's a great option for them right at this point. And I think Christian and Broderick, if you let them play deep behind the baseline, they're going to do this all day long and not miss. So I think it is the absolute right strategy to bring those guys up out of their comfort zone into the court. You know, you want to bait them. You want them to hit the ball.
Well, and two, they try to shake up the court,
40,
you know, and force that
15.
movement. But I think they use those shots to create kind of an open up the court, force movement. And again, a lot of the shots are, you know, used to create or force your opponent into uncomfortable positions.
That's exactly right. And you see some people where they hit shots and it seems like, they were just waiting for that all day long, and that's the dilemma out here. How do
Game
you?
Regalado Salazar. 4-all.
You know, it's like you can't be too predictable all the time, but you can't make any unforced errors. And Salazar, Regalado, neither of those teams give away that many points, Mike. And that's what you said. You know, both teams, you know, they stop the ship when they're bleeding a little bit and it's going a tiny bit south. They are able to put their foot on the brake immediately and mentally make an adjustment. And that's where you typically don't see younger, newer players in the game having that ability to, like, really put the brakes on and start the immediate grind. But all four of these players, they're extraordinary in their abilities to grind. Mike, I think that what I would love to see, I don't think I will see it, but I would love to see when Tomas gets a good rip and a good look and he's, you know, jumping on a drive from that deuce court and he's hitting consistently to the middle. How fun would it be to see Broderick fly through and just take a blitz move? Like, that's what you see Durant, Mitchell do, like, you know, Salazar, Regalado do it, where they, you know, apply some pressure and force, like, a transition kind of moment almost.
Yeah.
But just not what Drew looks to do. And as a lefty over there, he'd be coming in off his backhand, a little different than a righty coming in with the range of a forehand, for sure, in that situation. But I don't know, just something to create a little bit of follow-up, because these guys just volley and they wait and they let the ball get low, and they can't volley from back there if you blitz and move forward, right, Mike?
Yeah,
Like
you know, and
can't you make a team play closer to the net by forcing that move? I'm not sure I've explained it. Can you explain it better for me, Mike?
well, it's hard to do because you're so eloquent. But you know, when a volleyer is comfortable volleying and say that, like they are, they're a little off the net, they only have to worry about the drive and volleying the drive back. But if, you know, we were to pull Broderick in on the blitz behind a you know, Christian drive, they then have to worry about not only making the volley but also avoiding the blitz. And you know, the further away they are from the net, the more they have to lift the ball above net level. So it's kind of, you're forcing a volleyer to lift and then they have to avoid the blitz. That volley gets a lot tougher than if they close down and they're volleying the ball from above net level.
That was an awesome explanation. Thank you. You the man, Mike.
Oh, it's teamwork makes the dream work, Patty.
Love
When
15.
you look at now how this, the pace of play seems to have kind of ground a little bit downward. They're a little bit more deliberate in their shot making and shot execution and selection here.
Right, Broderick was broken the last time he served. Gigantic game here, obviously.
Boy, that catch the left cord. Nice little drive there.
Love 30.
Patty, we had this discussion last weekend at the charities. You know, you talk about the new paddle and old paddle, and you know, the new styles of play. But the reality is,
Love
new or
40.
old, it's all based on a team's ability to play solid, fundamental, strong platform tennis. Right?
Absolutely agree with you.
I mean, I would say the new paddle is just literally, you know,
15, 40.
they're just more athletic, more offensive in the right times in the transition game. Is there anything I'm missing when someone would say, well, that's new paddle or old paddle? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, in addition to that, you know, we talk about the shot making, the creativity, the ball changed, our paddles changed, the grit changed, the size of the holes changed, So what these guys can do with the ball, because the equipment makes a big difference. We see, Johan Duran and Stephen Mitchell. Johan won six national titles. He and Stephen have won 3. The pressure that they apply off the return of serves, where,
30,
old school,
40.
I would say, people return serve. There wasn't, the follow-up. It didn't force a transition moment at that point so much like you see it now. But I always feel like
Regalado Salazar. They lead the first set 5-4.
I always feel like, the game, when you watch it, Mike, and you see some of those early round matches at charities and you see these guys playing and every person looks so unbelievably talented because they have all the shots, but it's putting the puzzle pieces together and, having the order and your decision making be appropriate given who your opponents are, where they are in the court, what you're, and then you weigh the risk reward. So I would say there's much more risk involved in the game because there's reward, and the games, the points, especially Broderick Christian, they're known to play really, really long matches. And so I don't know. I just think I'm with you. It changes, but it stays the same in the moments of truth.
Yeah, and I think everybody can swing a hammer, right? But the true craftsmen are the ones that utilize it the best, and they almost make it look easy. And all 4 players out there right now, they're clearly, craftsmen and artists in what they do.
Right there, Broderick took it straight ahead, got the error from Salazar. Salazar kind of stands upright a little bit as a volleyer, Mike. I've seen, and he's amazing. But, maybe that's something that Broderick kind of registers and tries it again or whatever. I just think off the net, standing upright, sometimes that's a hard way to defend a volley. It probably wouldn't be how you would teach superb volley technique, would you, Mike Raleigh?
Well, I did have somebody who was at Glenview. They came up to me and they're like, we watched the Spaniards play, and they volleyed, Mike, everything with their forehand volley. And I said, well, you're talking about one of the top teams in the country right now, and I said, you can't compare a Series 10 woman to a
Right.
top team in the country. I said, so one of the things you do watch is how well they do volley with their backhand when they have to. But they're a fun team to watch, and forehand, backhand volleys, they do everything pretty well.
Yeah, I always think, Mike, you gotta get into these points. You gotta get deep into the points, and that's what club level players, if they can appreciate that and get into it, and then, when they get the ball of life on a drive, they're not going for an outright winner. They're just trying to test a guy's volley skills or a woman's versus trying to hit a winner. There's no shot that these guys hit out here, Mike, that like winner goes off in neon in their brain before they hit the shot, because everything comes back, and that's the monster difference.
Yeah, and you notice that drive there from Broderick. He's doing a good job here in late in this set of spotting his drive. We've seen 2 volley errors, and I think he's trying to exploit that forehand flip through the center of the court. And at a big point, you got, I think, Salazar to flip, and they missed that forehand volley.
And obviously, Mike, that's the disadvantage of not committing to the backhand. You have to make a decision, and sometimes you run out of time in making that decision. You don't get your paddle set, and that's where the volley errors come in, and that's why we recommend backhand volleys more for people, so that, especially on the first volley, they're coming in, charging the net, or moving toward the net, and you just don't have time to flip your paddles back and forth, mostly, from most players.
Yeah, and I think even when they're perfectly positioned, if you notice when, someone's going to unload on that drive, I mean, the majority of players out there are still just committed fully to hitting a backhand, and kind of keeping that shield up and in front of the body.
Great
Love that
move
little
from
play.
Great move from Christian. Wow.
There's a great example of that
15,
backhand volley.
30.
He was there. Christian just missed it in the top of the tape.
And that's one of the things, you know, you saw that Christian and Broderick weren't certain, you know, if they should just get out of the way and let that ball go through. That's another big change in the game where if people can't stick a great volley, you won't see them reaching for volleys because they can't, even these guys, how good they are, they can't always make that. So that's where in the game you see so many balls just going through if they can't stick their volley.
Because they don't want to take that unnecessary risk, right?
Absolutely.
15-40.
Now from, you know, here we go. We're at a double break point here to take it back to 5-all in the first set.
I think the betting line was heavy on Salazar Regalado going on to this match. I think, Mike, how much did we bet on this match? I forget, was it $1 or a $5?
I thought it was $1. I thought
Okay.
it was $1. Yeah.
Yeah, let's just keep the stakes the same as they've always been.
You know, and that's where Drew Broderick has just made a career about, you know, almost lulling opponents to sleep, and that ad side is a lefty. He just, you know, will continue to pop up balls, pop up that lob, and then they make a little less careful of an overhead, and he just hammers it.
And you could hear it when we were talking to Louis, the words that you could understand were, you know, like the mentality that he had, you know, when he knows he's playing these guys and he knows they're not going to give an inch. That's a huge challenge. You could hear it.
Yeah, and that's, you know, it just is such an uphill climb too. If you know that you not only have to deal with their shot making, but you have to deal with their decision making as
30,
well as their
40.
discipline. And it's not every other point, it is every point that they play, they're willing to be out there, you know, and grind it out.
Well, the amazing thing is we're at 5-4 first set, Mike, and I don't think we've been on the air for more than, I don't know, how long is this match underway? Any idea? Did you look at your watch when we started?
Well, I think we're 40 minutes into it.
I mean, I'm
Sound about
shocked
right.
I'm shocked they've played 9 games in 40 minutes. You know, I thought 9 games would take about an hour and a half.
Betty, are you a Trading Places fan of the movie?
I mean, you know, why not? But I can't say I've watched it in its entirety ever.
The reason I asked, I was looking at the chat, and Derek Yost had asked if you had just used the line from Trading Places about the $1 bet. So I think we're aging ourselves when we start quoting movies from the mid-'80s.
Oh my God. Shout out to Derek. Glad he's listening to the action from Philly. You know, the amazing thing, you watch all these 4 guys, nothing has changed. You watch them, you know, it's their play is oblivious to the score, really.
I agree. I'm going to throw in a but there, Patty.
Okay.
I think that they become so much more disciplined in these big point moments, in that, you know, they will take no unnecessary or risky shots. They're fully committed to hitting and attacking when they get it, but it amazes me that how the discipline level, it's like it just cranks up, you know, 1 or 2 clicks. And, you know, they're gonna attack when they get it, but boy, they are willing to be out there all night until they do.
Yep. You're right. It was good you added the but. You were absolutely right.
But there's you know, you know, I think that the average players will either, you know, hope that their opponent, they're gonna fold. And, you know, I remember playing with the great Brian Uline, and he at one point, we had maybe a set point, and I was hitting a return, and he goes, expect their best. And kind of under his breath, and I'm like, I'm sorry, what'd you say? He goes, expect the best. And I'm like, oh, okay. Here I was hoping for a fault. You know, and that's why a 2-time national champion.
Quite a mindset. Longest point of the match so far, Mike?
Yeah, I think so. And then some.
That's Broderick hitting the lefty. That's Tomas Christian. Beacon Hills Pro hitting the next one. He's got the hoodie on the left side of the screen, far side, deuce court. That's Jose Salazar and the one and only Alvi Regalado out of that ad court with that dark paddle. Shout out to the Birchinalls, some of Beacon Hills' finest, enjoying the action on Saturday night under the lights, Mike. They love listening to you in particular.
Oh, I bet. Patty, how many years were you at Beacon Hill?
Decades. Decades. Over
I'm
2
sure.
decades, Mike.
Was it really? I'm sure it felt like just a couple days.
It went so fast. How many years have you been at Exmoor?
It's decades. We're into 22 years now.
What an awesome accomplishment, Mike.
You know, it's they are very wonderful membership, and you know, so every day happy to be there and lucky to be there. So, you know, it's a great club, and you know, the paddle scene in Chicago it's just invigorating, and it's you know, good place to be.
It's great. The biggest leagues in the country. So many great teaching pros out there. So glad Liz Cruz joined the mix in Chicago, moving from, we lost her out of the Patterson Club, but glad she's out there, and I just love Chicago paddle. And the Exmoor Club, I mean, what a great club, and they love hosting events, and they host the biggest event of the year, run
That's
by
right.
you, Mike Rowley, Team Nationals.
Oh boy, get ready.
Get ready.
Less
We
than,
had
6 months away?
6 months away, but I mean, we're pretty much, we've got most of the things nailed down. Most importantly, Mike, shout out to a new company on the scene who's going to be one of our sponsors, Made For, and Dirk, who's running that show up in Connecticut, is jumping on board, and Mike and I had a good meeting the other day, and we picked out great favors for the Team Nationals for the guys. And that event is in April. Get your teams together. The women will be Jersey out of Canoebrook will be the host club. Greg Morgan is running the show for the women this year. I'll be helping him out, and Mike Rowley will be running the show for the guys. And Mike, you've got your cigar order in from Team Nationals for the guys, right?
Well, it sounds like you raised the level of you know, the offerings. So I can't promise anything, but we're going to do our best to make their weekend in Chicago as good as it was last year out east.
Biggest event in the sport ends up in April. Great way to, end the season. And the great thing about it is, Mike, anybody can get their their friends from all. You could play on a team, and it doesn't matter. You could be 4 states away and get your team together as long as your PTIs are within a bandwidth of about 10 points, and every team is guaranteed 4 matches over a 2-day period. Great parties, great time, the highlight of the season.
Yeah, it's very similar to what I'd call a golf weekend, a guy's trip, except it's platform tennis instead of chasing that white ball around.
That's right. So fun having your teammates cheer you on. Just really cool event. It's just you ran it from the beginning out in Chicago. So will this be your number 4 for you, Mike?
Oh, I think we're past that, Patty. I think this.
Yeah. What
might
number
be
are you on?
6. This
6?
might be this. I think we did it 2 before COVID. We took a year or 2 off, and then we're back into. Would this be the 4th year?
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking after COVID.
Yeah.
It's gonna be BC and AC.
Yeah. Boy, I tell you, Patty, we thought we had a long point before. What a great drive from Broderick with the fist bump.
Advantage, Broderick, Christian.
And again, he worked the middle of the court with that drive, which I think is a strategy we're seeing here. When Drew's getting the opportunity, they're hitting a lot of balls through the middle portion of the court. Love
the
seeing
play.
that.
Yeah. Love the speed, and I love that Christian took a chance there. He got burned on it one time, a couple points ago, but recognized it was there again for the taking, and he timed it beautifully.
And I think it sends a message as well that, if you're going to allow the overheader to just, consistently hit the same overhead without, I guess, with impunity, that there's no penalty. Nice drop shot from Broderick to get the break
Broderick,
back.
Christian.
With 5-all here in the first set.
5-all.
Man. We got what we wanted. We got a match.
We got a match. Everybody's enjoying this, even on a Zabori. There's lots of paddle going all around, and everybody's tuning in, Mike, to watch this. And I mean, this is a shocking thing for a lot of people. 5-all first set, finals. People just thought Salazar, Regalado. How do you
15.
stop them? Maybe Broderick and Christian have found a way. And Mike, the thing about the middle drives, I love it because it's the high percentage shot, obviously, lower part of the net, and you keep making them make decisions. And because they do sort of play a little bit off the net, not super aggressive volley position, they don't close when they know a drive's coming. Maybe they found something. Alvey did close on that.
He was listening.
all.
Huge game here. Tomas Christian. He's got to shake that error off.
30-15.
Is it 15-30, Mike? I think that was a fault.
Oh, he was trying to.
Wow, how did he? I thought Drew was dead on that ball.
Yeah, that could have gone bad in a hurry.
Yeah.
$40-15.
Kind of seemed like Regalado, got some looks. He was over in that deuce court, and he just wanted to hit the ball. Or be more aggressive, I should say.
Yeah, and you hear the term scoreboard pressure. That, can they be feeling a little bit of the, the pressure of the score? Because I know at the charities it didn't get to 5-all in any set that they played, and I know through the quarterfinals they didn't lose 5 games. So
Right. They cruised through Baltimore essentially, and they find themselves in an interesting position. Oh boy, Broderick got what he wanted there. Oh, he didn't quite have his footing on that shot, Mike.
it's a good lesson. Just because he could drive it doesn't mean he should.
Yep.
Boy, that thing was tattooed, wasn't it?
Game,
Holy
Regalado
smokes.
Salazar.
And I
You
think
lead
we've gone
6-5 first set.
Patty, you had set up till, was it no breaks to start the match, and now it's like they're almost trading breaks here through the end of this set.
Yep, that's Alvi Regalado hoping to serve the first set out here. We shall see. It's kind of funny how they're Regalado and Salazar are hitting Tomas Christian a decent amount of balls over there in that deuce court. They're almost lulling Drew Broderick out of this match a little bit. Doesn't it feel that way? Like they're not really engaging him. But when they're going to Drew, they're I earlier mentioned something about like almost giving him the shot that they wanted him to actually drive. They're masterful at doing that and inducing shots out of their opponents.
And I think the thinking being that if they can get the shot they want, they're basically controlling the point. Like they didn't want that.
No.
Short Drew's backhand.
Well, that's another way the game has changed, right, Mike? Two-handed backhands.
Yeah, and I mean, you never
Love
used to drive a
15.
backhand. You never used to hit an overhead hard. You never used to poach. It's the
Dave
evolution of the
Ohlmuller.
game.
Right,
Yeah.
how about Dave Ohlmuller's two-handed backhand?
It's a
That
great
was one of
drop
the-
shot.
Yeah, that was one of the early ones. Dave, a Hall of Famer, great champion. Got to play with Dave, great friend of mine, and such a talent. And he had that two-handed backhand that he could just rip. And you see it with so many players, and that's the fun thing, that they can really pull the trigger, forehand and backhand. And Jose Salazar, like, he's at the head of the class in the game right now with like his ability from the baseline, Mike. I'm just floored when he drives the ball, whether it's forehand, two-handed backhand rip. The guy makes like 98% of them.
Yeah. So, Patty, here's a question for you. I remember watching when I was new to the game, you and Dave Ohlmuller were playing the Chicago Mixed Nationals. And you were playing a match at Exmoor Country Club before I was the pro. I think I happened to be there playing as well, but I recall watching you and Dave play. You were kind of hiding behind the net and just hugging the alley and letting Dave do everything. It's very generous of you, because I know how you like to take over the court. But
I
don't know
share.
if you recall, that had to have been 94, 95. Does that sound about right?
I believe it could be right. Yeah, many years ago, Dave was phenomenal. Won the men's, won mixed, just a real talent. And I did get out of the way when, in mixed doubles, you always saw the strategy where I would switch to
15
and be the player to the right, and I would stay on top of the net. And my job was every time my male counterpart got the ball, I knew that they were going to drive it at me, and that was so I became really. I had to be a volley queen to stand up to that, and that's where all the overheads went toward Dave. And when you see the game played, you see a lot of teams who switch out just as intentionally and put one person in a position hitting many more of the overheads. You never saw that, back in the day.
Right. Yeah, it's just funny.
Got it.
Funny
Were we
memory.
Were we playing Rich Mayer and Robin Fulton by any chance?
I don't recall who you were playing. I just remember
30-15.
seeing you hunkered down at the net. And
Hey, I got low. I learned that from playing softball.
got low. Yeah.
Small strike zone.
Call stand. Call stand.
What do we have happen there?
Yeah. 3-all.
Not sure. That's Regalado serving. Up 6-5 with Jose Salazar. Finals from Milton Point. Beautiful Coverley Club in Rye, New York. Yeah, the thing about Salazar. Oh, go ahead, Mike.
I heard a great, and I've since stole it. I'm a great stealer of tips and ways to look at things, and like the litmus test, the hut test. That if you were sitting in the hut, were you able to tell what the strategy was for your team? And when we look at how Regalado and Salazar are playing right now, here we go. They shift back into the play into Christian. Is this their team strategy? And they're trying to. And I think you had mentioned it earlier that clearly they're not being equal opportunity hitters here, where they're giving both of their opponents equal opportunity to receive these balls. And I think that's a great way to kind of, when we talk about what can you learn from the live stream, can you see the different strategies that the teams employ, at the highest level? And clearly, we see that the action is moving through Tomas Christian here.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a great point. And you watch the positioning of Salazar Regalado when they dump the ball over to Christian. For the most part, those guys are even. They just slide a tiny bit to their left, and they're both back off the net there. And that's where, from time to time, when Christian takes a swing, he's got a lot of room in front of them available to him. But their overheads are so well placed and the perfect amount of pace and spin that they're just not giving Tomas Christian that many good looks. He's really got to create his own good look against them.
I think you notice too when Drew Broderick does step to the middle to drive, how the ability for the volleying team, the difference there when the ball goes out
30,
wide to
40.
Drew, he's got 3 different places he can be attacking, but from the middle he's got one spot he can attack. So it just was interesting to see that they made a mistake, put the ball where they shouldn't, and Drew made him play or made him pay. But when they're driving from the middle of the court, when Drew's driving from the middle of the court, there's not much he can do to hurt that team.
Mike, that's a great point, and I'm a big fan of using the middle. And you see Salazar, Regalado, they dump a lot of balls into the middle deep. Way more so than, we don't see, like, let's say Duran and Mitchell for years, you don't see them use the dump shot. Then they started using it. And I feel like a lot of club level players feel like they have to pound the ball and really, get it into someone's corner, where the reality is you throw that thing down the middle, you can cover most shots your opponents, are going to hit. As long as it's deep, Mike. Mike, first 9 games, what did it take? 42 minutes? The last 2 games? 42 minutes? No, I don't know. But you get the idea. It's really getting dragged out now. And to your point, you're saying, you know, the score, everybody knows the score. No one is willing to miss here. I'd like to see Christian, because he's getting so many shots. I'd like to see him, you know, get some air under a lob and go up the line on these guys a little bit from that deuce court. Wow.
Game, Broderick Christian. 6-all, tiebreaker.
Wow. Talk about, you know, your point. Are they feeling it a little bit? That was an uncharacteristic error. I mean, I'm shocked. And I'm shocked, Mike, because they're so damn good. They don't miss anything. So tiebreaker, finals, the Milton Cup, Rye, New York. Hey, Mike, can you hear me now? So we're in the tiebreaker here, and this is exactly what we expected. This thing is a brawl. Hey, Mike. I think we're having some technical difficulties between Mike and myself. We're hoping you guys at home can hear us, or at least one of us. First point tiebreaker, Christian Broderick. Amazing first set here by all 4 players, but extraordinary for Broderick, Christian. Huge underdogs for many in this match, except for them, of course. They came into this match They had a strategy game plan. They're executing beautifully. Beacon Hills, Tomas Christian, and Canoe Brooks, Drew Broderick doing a phenomenal job right out here. First set tiebreaker. Far side, the one and only Alvi Regalado with that darker paddle, and the light paddle of Jose Salazar.
1-all.
Huge moment, but never too big a moment to give a shout out to the one and only Karen Salerno, enjoying the action out on Long Island. Big fan of the live streaming. Love that you're chiming in, Karen. Hope you're well. Happy fall.
Check, check, check.
Hello.
Patty?
Yes. Hey, Mike. Mike, can you hear me now?
2-1.
All right, 2-1, Christian and Broderick. Or Broderick and Christian if you're going in alphabetical order. I'm Patty Hogan with Mike Raleigh. Experienced a little technical difficulties, but we'll do the best we can here. Incredible action in the first set tiebreaker. Every single shot has a huge purpose. You can see these teams, they drew out this match. They drew out every single point, how they're going to play them. No surprises for each other. Real high level.
Patty, can you hear me now?
Mike Raleigh is back. Yes, Mike.
I went out and got a pizza, sorry.
Mike, did you get me pepperoni? I don't know if you... I sent you that text when you ran out the door to add pepperoni to mine.
Yeah, I got it.
Sweet, thanks.
Sure do. You bet.
We'll get that 2-minute break if the first set tiebreaker ever ends, Mike. We'll eat our pizza.
Golly, this is fantastic. I might have been muted there, but I didn't miss any of the action. You know, as a fan of the game, I got that going for me.
Mike, we never want to mute you.
Yeah, well, my wife does. You know, ask my family.
Yeah, I think my husband would love a mute button on me every once in a while as well.
And Patty, you sound great solo too. By the way, you did a great job. It was like a bobbing and weaving there. It was well done.
Oh, thanks, Mike. But I was getting hungry. I'm so glad pizza's here.
2-all.
Really smart drop.
Yeah, how many times have we seen that little drop shot?
Three serving 2.
All right, so this is where Christian has a little bit of a tendency, Mike, if there's an error on his team, sometimes he'll throw in a fault right then. Like it'll follow an error. I never see him fault after a winner. What do you think that holds true for most players, Mike? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's the mental. You know, it's the mental issue there. It's tougher to bounce back from some of those unforced errors.
Right in there, and he hadn't made the prior error. You know, I think Regalado, got a volley error out of Broderick, and that's You just can't give away anything. I don't see Salazar, Regalado. I can't even remember the last time they threw in a fault. Do you think you've ever seen them fault?
Maybe once, but I don't recall when it was.
Again, you know, pulling Broderick in, trying to get Broderick and Tempo a little out of that baseline zone that they're in where they just can go lockdown mode and never miss.
Yeah, they go into that, you know, and I think again those drop shots, we've seen it 5-6 drop shots that have, wow, good drive, right after Broderick forces a volley here to go up 4. Oh, 3-2, sorry.
4-2.
Yeah, 4-2. Yep.
What a volley.
2-5.
You know, the hands that these guys have and their willingness to hit these like hand shots, drop shots, you know, at critical moments. It's what makes them so spectacular and so tough to beat. And
2-6.
Broderick threw in a fault and a couple of set points here against Broderick and Christian.
It's kind of like who's going to blink first. You know, we've had some uncharacteristic
Game set.
errors.
Regalado Salazar, they won the first set, 7-6 at tiebreaker.
Boy,
And Mike, you know what? Let's talk about that. We'll be right back right in just a moment after these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel presented by ProFlight.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Welcome back to the APTA Tour. We're here at the Milton Point Cup in Rye, New York, with finals action here between Broderick and Christian. Regalado Salazar just won that first set, 7-6 in a tiebreaker on Patty Hogan, along with Mike Raleigh. We just enjoyed a slice of pizza. Mike, what a first set there. Mike's still chewing on his pizza, I think. Tomas Christian, I think, ran inside. Maybe a change of clothes. We'll just hold steady here for a minute or two till he returns. So Tomas Christian is back. Very little separation between these two teams in that first set. Really an outstanding performance by Christian Broderick. They had to be outstanding in that first set. With Salazar Regalado just, at the top of the class in the game at this point in the season, with 2 tournament wins, winning Montclair and Baltimore. And second set action, we're underway. Mentioned earlier, there's action going on at the Cleveland Masters tournament. There's another tournament, one-day tournament out there for the guys in the Midwest. Next up, the Aronimink Open, November 16th and 17th down in Philly. The tour then goes down to Louisville, Kentucky for the Bourbon Ball. Then they swing back to Westchester County for the Westchester Classic. So two opportunities in this area for guys to play in, and then they head out to where Karen Salerno will be watching live in person, the Long Island Dwayne Hayden Invitational. That's December 6th through the 8th. The first half of the season will conclude with the Detroit Grand Prix, December 14th and 15th out in Birmingham, Michigan.
Love.
Eddie, are you there?
30-15.
Mike, it's about time. I only had 1 piece of pizza. I didn't know you were going for 3.
Yeah, it was 4 actually, but we're
30
back.
all.
Well, as we roll into the second set, any adjustments or changes that you would make from either team?
I think only vulnerable spot I saw for Broderick Christian was a little bit of the drop shots that were hit by Regalado Salazar. And that's a tough thing to defend, Mike, with their style of play, because they play back deep, they're defending, they can absorb all the pace and slices and slashes that these guys hit. And you can see, how far they are behind the baseline a lot. I mean, they're gonna have to be on the lookout for the drop shot. It wasn't only to Broderick, they were effective against Tomas Christian as well. And I'm only saying that because he is a little younger than Drew and a little faster than Drew, but not by much. And I think that was the only thing. I didn't see any other separation.
Yeah, I have to agree. And I think that, winning or losing a close set like that, it doesn't, it's not necessarily, that the team has to make these major changes to what they're doing. They just have to perform maybe a little bit better in the big points. From the average player, you see a lot that I love that play from Tomas Christian. Almost like a little pickleball dink and then blitz behind it.
I think, Mike, well, I'm going to ask you, what do you think? This is not for a dollar bet or anything, but are Christian Broderick better at the net or better from the baseline in this matchup?
Boy,
that's a tough question.
That is a tough, that's a great question with a very tough, difficult to answer.
You can make up something, Mike.
I was about to make up and say that
Salazar.
I think they're better at the net because of the point that you brought up earlier that, there were 5 or 6 points in that first set where that drop shot was implemented by Salazar and Regalado. Having said that, we see Drew Broderick pick them apart with 2 drives in a row. But I do think that they're utilizing that drop shot against Tomas and Drew fairly effectively.
And Drew forced that volley error because he got to hit the ball from inside the baseline.
Yes.
You know, when these guys drive from baseline or beyond, it doesn't phase Salazar or Regalado. They are so good. They anticipate every single shot.
Advantage Salazar.
You know, and the other thing that you bring into when Salazar and Regalado are at the net is that overhead, that hard ball right into the net. Like you just served it there, but they hit that roller into the nick. It's tough to
One
defend.
love the second set. They won the first set in a tiebreaker.
Oh, great, thanks.
Are Alvi and Jose better in this match from the baseline or the net?
Boy.
You think it's clearly the net because of their drop shot winners?
I think their ability, the way that they've been working, their shot selection at the net and keeping, I don't think they're keeping Christian and Broderick as uncomfortable when Broderick and Christian are at the net as they are in the backcourt. It seems to me that they can get them a little bit more off balance or off kilter in the backcourt than when Broderick and Christian are at the net.
And obviously the score, it was a tiebreaker. Broderick and Christian could have won that first set, which in itself is quite a statement. Can they sustain the level of play that they just, put forth in that first set? And I think they can.
I agree. I think this is the type of match that
15 love.
That Broderick has lived for his whole career. He doesn't seem to play many real easy matches as he goes deep into tournaments. It's got to work for him all, and this is what he does.
That's what I'm talking about. Score from Salazar. Forehand rip, two-handed backhand rip, back to back, all the time. Yeah, I think this match is going to come down to baseline play from Broderick Christian. I think that's the difference. I feel like when they're up at the net, they're totally comfortable. If you can be comfortable, but they can handle it. They're incredible defenders.
That's the beauty of this game, is that the cat and mouse nature of it, that they're doing everything they can to not let their feel comfortable in any position, either in the backcourt or up at the net.
We talked about hitting to the middle. In this point alone, Salazar, they've already hit like 8 shots in the middle of the court. They use the middle more than most teams when they're the net team.
And especially when you have the lefty-righty with the forehands on the outside.
Exactly.
See the second drop shot in this point alone.
But I like that Broderick slid over there because he wants his two-handed backhand more than he looks to hit his forehand, really. He looks forehand more drive, pressure up on the screen versus off the deck.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, are you eating that last piece?
Nope, I'm saving it for you.
Okay, thanks.
See, I'm a middle child, Patty. I got to keep things fair. It's got to be
That's right.
equal number of pizzas.
Again, just like dumping the ball short to Broderick just to let him come in and hit the ball.
Boy, oh boy. Regalato's just bringing that
30,
forehand, isn't he?
15.
Oh, yeah.
No, no, no. 40-15.
Oh,
40-30.
it's an immediate apology. That was a big forehand. Be interesting to see if they keep going to that Regalato forehand. You know, they drew 2 errors off that forehand drive in the last 2 points. And then you saw the damage that Salazar forehand did off the return.
I mean, that's the thing, Mike. These players are so great. Where do you hit it? That's the problem. Yeah. Bring it to Regalato's forehand, and he's so chill on it. You know, his style is so chill. He's just kind of laid back. And I think you mentioned it last week during charities. You know, half the time he's standing there, his paddle's kind of down around his knees, and then boom, he just can pull the trigger and in a split second go from looking like he's, you know, picking out cereal in the grocery store to hitting 100-mile-an-hour forehand.
Another. I think that's 7 drop shots in the last game and a half that I've counted.
I love that Christian ran over for it, Mike, in front of Drew. But that's kind of what I think they need to do. I think he can use his speed a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Why not? I mean, I think it's a great play for them when they can dump it in front of Drew. And Tomas is a speedster. He's a youngster, Mike. He can run all day, and he's got this, and I mean, he is lightning fast. So, I don't know. I kind of like him looking for that. But, like, right here, I just feel like Broderick Christian will be determined. They'll stick with this plan no matter what, Mike, where that's what I want. I want Christian just to create a little bit of his own looks on that, and, you know, by using a lot of footwork. And, you know, a shot that he may have lobbed, you know, 716 times already in this match, maybe just throw him a different look in that moment with that shot.
Yeah, where he steps a big, strong step or two to that center right there. And it shrinks where Regalato and Salazar can hit the ball when they do play it to him.
As always with Regalato Salazar, you hear them. They communicate constantly. Every single ball that's thrown up, they call it. Never doubt.
I just can't figure out what they're saying, but I do hear the communication.
They understand each other well.
That's right. That's an important thing. Boy, my question to you there is, it sounded like Guy Moore there. My question to you is that, you know, was that a length of point error, you know, where they had to grind so much that there's a little bit of a boredom? Missed the roller in the net. We'll never know.
Yep. You get lulled.
Boy, that's great transition
Game,
drive.
Broderick Christian. 1-all.
Big hold.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Broderick and Christian batted 1-2 in the order for a baseball team. Would they bunt or swing from the heels? What do you think?
I would say it's they wouldn't be swinging for the dingers. They'd be looking for base hits and taking the getting on base. definitely Broderick. But Christian could be sneaky in that he might play the count a little bit better and swing if the count was in his favor.
You know, you see Broderick Christian baseline a little bit closing in toward the middle a little bit, Mike, with Broderick sneaking over in front of that volley sign and Tomas in front of the volley sign. I kind of like this because Regalado and Salazar dump a ton of balls down the middle of the court. I don't know. Maybe it could help them.
15 love.
But
Well, and they're baiting them to then hit to the corners, which happens to be right to their forehands. So,
exactly.
Getting into that cat and mouse. Boy, what happened
15
there?
all.
I think it was a let cord.
Let cord?
I think so. Went right over his paddle. He didn't even react to it.
Boy, and the little rope-a-dope play going there, you notice middle, wide into Christian's forehand, and then the dump wide to Broderick.
Mike, I mentioned it in the first set, just in passing, but I'm going to talk about it a little bit. I think Christian's, I'd like to see him air out some lobs here and go up the line a little bit. I feel like it's a critical point. Salazar, Regalado, obviously, are never backing down. When they have a lead, they're in a really amazing team to come back from what I've seen. I don't know. I was just thinking
15-30.
if they could, maybe he mix up his lobs just a little bit more.
Work that ball a little bit more down the line. It makes it tougher for them to target his backhand, and you might get the ball leaking to Broderick's two-hander up the middle as well, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, just to get a little different look. And I think with a lot of these lobs that they're hitting, these guys like that roller into the deuce court. We saw it in the semifinals. We're seeing it all year long. That roller is just a dominant shot in the game, in the men's and women's game. And, that roller, when it goes into that deuce court, is really tough to defend. But see, that's what I'm talking about right there. I like the lob because it's opening up some space, created a little bit of opening, a shot or two later.
Right.
Like kind of right there. That was awesome.
It was almost on command.
Tomas is a really good listener. Mike, one of the things when I watch Salazar and Regalado, talk to a lot of people, and they're amazing. And I said, it's uncanny when I watch them, just how calm they are, how early they set their paddles. 30. And people say, well, don't their opponents know what they're going to do because they set their paddles so early on their shots? And I said, it doesn't matter. They don't miss. They just set. They can pull the trigger. They can vary the pace, speed on a dime from that early setup. And I think that's a really good thing for those of you who play, whose PTIs are a little bit higher than these guys, or a lot higher. Early preparation. Set that paddle early. Who cares if your opponents know what your intention is? If you don't miss, you get better.
Yeah, and I think along with that in early preparation and early set, but the other thing you notice too, it's a little tougher when you're looking at the live stream, but is how quiet and slow the hands are when they're in trouble. You know, they're choosing to go fast with their hands, and what I mean by that is, like, you look at a drive or an attack overhead. Those are the times where they'll play speed up with the hands. But if they're forced to move or play defensively, like on a volley, how quiet and slow the hands are. So they're choosing to go fast and play fast. But yet when they're running or forced to, that old adage of fast feet, slow hands, really, I mean, I think that's what separates the greatest players from the average player too.
Totally agree.
Patty, would you say this slower pace of play, does it suit Broderick, Christian, or Regalado Salazar more?
In any other matchup, I would say Regalado Salazar, but I feel like in this, it favors Broderick Christian. Because we know, and to your point, you said it earlier, those guys like to play faster, but they're perfectly willing to play slow down paddle. And in this match, they have no choice. They do have a choice they do have a choice, absolutely, but this is where the mastery of Broderick and Christian here, Broderick is always stuck with that mentality of being super disciplined, no matter what. And you have a strategy and you stick with that strategy. Look at cat, mouse, cat, mouse.
Yes.
But I feel like Regalado's throwing out the yarn for the cat there, and Drew's the cat there.
And I recall a couple years ago, it was Broderick. Was it Broderick and Christian who played? It might have been where the first two sets took over 3.5 hours. Is that the match?
Broderick, Christian, Durant, Mitchell.
And Durant and Mitchell just went kind of full speed up mode.
They totally changed the tempo.
And that
and that's the thing. Yeah, go ahead, Mike. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No,
that's
you go.
The only time I've ever seen someone be able to, or a team be able to, dictate a fast tempo as opposed to what Broderick and Christian were doing, where they were dictating the slow tempo. You know what I'm saying?
Yep. Right, so Broderick, Christian, whatever that tempo was in the first set, no matter what, they want to slow it down even more, essentially. Right. Mike, I always think paddle comes down to, if you get out there and you play someone who, no matter what, their average number of times they hit the ball over the net is 5. If you have in your mindset that you're going to just hit 6 in a row to start any point, you'll always beat that player. You follow my mentality? These guys, these guys, what's the number? I always, whenever I played and when I competed, I always kind of had in my head what my opponent's number was. And and I would sort of watch.
Salazar. They lead 2-1 in the second set. They won the first set 7-6 in a tiebreaker.
I would watch them closely, and I think, veteran players, how to read your opponents, and you kind of can tell when someone might be losing their patience slightly. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And then that's where you say, okay, I'm going to make that player hit 4 more shots because I think they're fried. They're mentally fried. Sometimes it's a physical thing for sure, but most of the time at the high level, I don't think it's, physical fatigue versus mental fatigue. And your point of, we use the word lulled. You get lulled into a tempo. But, it's an intriguing matchup, and I think the question has been answered. Can anybody beat Regalado Salazar? I think the answer is yes. Is it going to be easy? No. Yeah. Is it going to be is it likely? Or how many teams, could play this kind of a match? Not too many. Not too many others against them, I don't see. Although, you know, with some new combinations at the, you know, we saw them out in charities. West and Tyler Frazier, how fun is that team? McNerney, Morgan, that's a great new combination. So I think
Love 30.
there's a lot of the teams who are at the top of the game have the mindset of being willing, you know, to be able to play up tempo or, you know, kind of try to lull opponents more. And it seems like
15-30.
the game is shifting a little bit to a defensive mindedness again. But we haven't seen Durant Mitchell play this year yet. Powers Nunez, you know, just more explosive types of players are going to, you know, it lends itself to playing that style, a little speed up tempo type of game.
15-40.
Yeah, and this is a very critical point in the match. I think for Broderick and Christian to, you know, when we see kind of a uncharacteristic of fault and then a missed volley to start this game, they've got to be careful here.
Game, Regalado Salazar. 3-1.
Because it can go fast.
Yeah.
You know, we've seen a million paddle matches be like,
Love
tooth and nail,
15.
you're going, and it's such a grind. And all of a sudden, there's a little separation, and it is scary because when Salazar, Regalado separate, there's no stopping them.
15 all.
That was a big aggressive swing from the heels, you know, from Broderick right there. I think he just had to air one out.
Just get it out of the system.
Yep. I like the shot from Christian when he was coming in on that ball from the deuce court. He went right at Salazar. You know, I think they've done a great job of hitting a ton of shots, drives to the middle on Salazar Regalado. And they don't, you know, they don't stand there favoring their backhand. So taking a shot right at them, you know, maybe that's a good strategy.
Well, that's the biggest vulnerability of not committing to that backhand.
30-15.
To your point, we'll see if he picks up on it and continues to make that happen. Boy, and that up and back,
40-15.
you know, whether it's tracking down a drop shot or that hard roller off the back screen, you know, they're really maximizing the amount of court coverage that Broderick and Christian are forced to play. And I like that. Tactically, that is not something that, you know, I saw a few drop shots in the semifinal, but
Game, Regalado Salazar.
boy, that takes us to our fifth game, and we've got
They lead
a word from our sponsor
4 games
here.
to 1 in the second set. They won the first set.
Corient is the
7-6.
official wealth sponsor of the APTA's 24-25 season. Corient is the fee-only wealth manager who puts their clients at the center of everything they do. Learn more at corient.com.
Mike, shocking speed of the last 2 games. You know, bunch of quick
15
points.
love.
We've got the separation. Salazar, Regalado look like they are rolling, having won the first set 7-6 tiebreaker. Very little separation, so all of a sudden feels like a lot of separation right now. Is it a lot, Mike, or does it just feel that way?
I think it's a little bit of both. It really comes down to, I mean, it wasn't like the quality of games that Christian and Broderick have lost in the last couple games. They were, what, you know, I keep saying uncharacteristic errors. And, you know, it's one thing to play 3 really good games and you've just, you know, you came up on the wrong side
15
of it.
all.
Boy, it feels like there's a lot of separation now.
I think Broderick Christian have to slow down a ton.
Yes.
Even
yes.
this game, they're just going through it fairly fast, and you know, in the last 10 points, they haven't won too many.
15-30.
But you never know, Mike.
You never know. I've blown plenty of bigger leads than this, I can tell you that. Good reflex volley from Christian.
Yeah, and you never blew him, Mike. It was just that your opposition came back strong, right?
Or it was my partner.
30 all.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, blame your partner.
Yes.
You know, I wonder, you know, the effects of a really long day of paddle, you know, coming into this here in this fourth match for Broderick Christian, because it seems like they've hit a wall a little bit, Mike.
And you're referring to not necessarily physically, but more of a mental wall.
Yeah, because when they
Right.
pull the trigger and miss like a lot of these fast points,
30-40.
I think it's mental fatigue.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, for Broderick to miss the block lob long.
Exactly.
Game. Regalado Salazar. 5-1.
You know, I feel like
Wow, that was
15 love.
this is just now
incredible
like
point.
fun time for Regalado Salazar. Now I feel like, you know, like I do believe Broderick and Christian have hit a wall, because it seems like Regalado Salazar are just kind of having their way with what they're doing. They're kind of loosening up. They're not playing super disciplined. They're like moving it all around, hitting shots all over the court, not using the middle a lot, not dumping a lot of balls, because they kind of feel like they're getting some errors from those guys, I think.
Yeah.
30 love.
They're getting a lot of errors.
And then the use of that you know, the drop shot has really opened up the play for them at the net.
And what a shot from Christian. Just tagged that thing. No issue for Salazar. Just
Yeah.
quiet hands, to your point. They just put their paddle in the right spot, let the ball rebound off. Beautiful control.
Wow. I mean, the use of that dump, I don't know if you want to call every one of them a drop shot, but that dump ball into the front part of the court has changed the complexion of how Christian and Broderick are playing to their detriment. Boy, what a point.
40 love.
As you can see, we've lost the stream. We'll sit tight, hopefully to come back shortly.
Game, set, match.
Well, Patty, back in time to see him shake hands.
Fine, guys.
Yeah, what dominant second set there. Regalado Salazar won that first in a tiebreaker, really close, well played set from Broderick Christian, and just didn't seem like they had a lot left in the tank toward the end of that second set. And Salazar Regalado are on and have won their third tour event of the year, cementing and creating a little more separations. The #1 ranked team in the country, heading into the Aronimink Open next weekend down in Philadelphia. I believe we're going to have an interview with our winners.
I think this speaks to how good of a team Regalado and Salazar are. That you see a Broderick and Christian who are able to play them, right to a tiebreaker. Oh, I'll turn it over here to.
Competitive final here. Thank you for watching here, staying with us today. Drew and Thomas, great tournament. Great final. The first set you give them a scare. Play perfect paddle. What was it? Drew. Let's see if you can. So what was the key to keep it, to make it to the final today? I know that you guys played lots of paddle today. So what do you think?
I think the trick is to be a little bit younger than 50 years old, setting out these young guys. No, they're really great players. We were close in that first set. They won a couple of the bigger points, and but I feel like we had some good momentum throughout that set. And our goal was to just keep the points.
I guess not.
Anyway, congratulations, guys. This was a great tournament. Thanks for having us.
Just
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And here are some trophies for you guys. Congratulations. Winners. We have Salazar Regalado. I mean, what a great tournament. Another victory. They are the team to beat. Obviously, you guys are very consistent from last year to this year, showing a new style of play, great style of play, tough to compete against. What's the key of your success if you can share? I'm sure many people are watching.
Being able to adapt depending you're playing against incredible competitors.
Mike, it might be time for us to get hearing aids.
I think so. I thought it was maybe me.
Your base, I wish we could hang that age with everyone. You're so good. You're everyone's teacher out there. So much respect to you guys. Great playing. That was a great final. I want to thank everyone here. That was hell of a tournament. It was super fun. You guys brought the energy, and we truly appreciate it. We appreciate everything you guys did. So thank you so much.
Thank you guys, and we got here the trophies for the winners. Obviously, I want to thank the staff here at Covoli. I want to thank the APTA, maintenance, everybody that was involved, all the volunteers and the spectators, and especially, obviously, I want to thank Sasha, the tournament director, with me together. He played great, and here, this guy here, the paddle lover. This tournament is because of Jim. Obviously, also a couple of other members have been involved. But Jim, please tell us what it takes to get to this tournament here. How much work and
Listen,
it's a lot of fun. It's great watching professional athletes at this level. You guys are really amazing. It's great to see it live up front. It's an incredibly fast sport. So thank you for all the entertainment today. We couldn't have done it without our sponsor, ProQuest, so thank them. And we want to thank also the Shenrock Shore Club and American Yacht Club, our partners in this, along with the Bovary Club. We love putting this on and love having you at Milton Point. Hopefully we showed you that we really care about paddle here and want to build the paddle community. So thank you.
Thank you all. Perfect. Thank you, everyone.
So, Mike? Mike, are you still there?
I'm still here. I am.
All right. Well, I mean, what an amazing display. Third win of the season for Regalado and Salazar. And exciting heading into the middle of the season here with the Ronimick Open coming up and lots of tournaments every single weekend. Mike, any final thoughts?
I think, you know, the team to beat in Regalado, Salazar. I think we need to thank our sponsors, Volley and Corient, you know, the tour presenting sponsors, as well as our local sponsors, ProQuest and the Sports House. But, you know, the live stream is long and strong, and we've got a full season ahead of us, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yep, and Mike, it was always fun calling matches with you. We're going to wrap it up here from Rye, New York. But if you didn't get enough paddle and you really were looking for 3 sets, no problem. Go back on YouTube, go to the American Platform Tennis Association YouTube channel, and you'll be able to watch the finals out of the Cleveland Masters. Rams and Wagner just started their match against Hansen Hirsch. A lot of Pittsburgh representation out there. Mike, thanks so much. We'll see you guys next weekend at Ronimick.
Take care.
At Corient, wealth management begins and ends with you. We believe the more personal the solution, the more powerful the result. We treat your goals as our own. We never lose focus on the life you want to build. And our experienced advisors design custom-built strategies to help you get there. It's time for a wealth management experience as sophisticated as you are. It's time for Corient.
Great job. Hey, good stuff to you. Patty, good job. Yeah, a lot of fun. You guys look great out there. How long have you been playing?
Who, me? Oh, I've been playing my whole life. How about you?
Wow, I only started playing when I retired. Someone say retired?
Looking good out there, Eli.
Thank you.